What is going on, Amazon sellers? Happy Wednesday afternoon, and welcome back to the weekly Amazon Q&A show, where we share some e-commerce news, some stats, and the occasional business maxim, and of course, answer your questions about selling on Amazon. So if you got a question about retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, how to actually set up a repricer, maybe you need to know a little bit about wholesale, or perhaps you just have a Keepa quandary, drop it in the chat and we'll help. We're going to do things a little bit different tonight. Now, for those of you who might be new here, my name is Chris Grant, and to my right is my lachrymose co-host with the most, Chris Rasick. Chris, how's it going, man?
I didn't think I cried that much to warrant that adjective. I try to dry it up a little bit.
You know, I know that I keep coming back with all of these. And first of all, good on you for having the depth of a lexicon to know exactly what that was right off the bat. But secondly, I know that I am on like a year and a half long streak, it feels like, of a new word. But I really am feeling like I'm starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel.
You're the adjective boy that cried wolf. I don't buy it. You've been saying that for years. So I'm good, man. A bit surprised to see Corey in here.
Oh, are you gonna bring it up, or are you gonna let me do it?
All right. I'll let it simmer a little bit. We'll lower the heat on that a little bit.
Okay.
You know what? Number one, I was informed by my 7-year-old earlier this afternoon that snitches get stitches, and I was being a snitch. So,
she didn't happen to say where she heard that, did she?
No.
Okay.
Although I was curious, she didn't elaborate. I think she was still like, I think she was full threat mode, so she wasn't interested in the extraneous questions.
Okay.
So, but hey, I was looking through the news, and something I didn't realize, was going through, different news articles, and I saw something on facial recognition and bans being put in place, prohibiting stores from using it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And wouldn't typically draw my attention, except for the picture on the article. The picture of the article showed Kmart. And so I ended up clicking on the article. I wanted to read about it. Turns out Kmart is booming down under. I had no idea that they were still going, and because Kmart, they couldn't even afford brooms for their stores, from what I remember in Kmart. Like the only thing that functioned less than the McDonald's soft serve machine was Kmart's blue light to indicate the blue light special. They couldn't even afford bulbs and brooms and all this stuff. Here they are down under, kicking some butt, apparently, enough to be able to afford facial recognition. I was shocked.
I know. It is surprising sometimes what works in other countries that doesn't seem to work here. And I wonder what they did to mismanage it so badly here in the States, and what they did differently in Australia. Or are Australians just so drunk all the time that they don't even care if the stuff works and they just go shopping there?
Yeah, I don't know. Different breed down there. I mean, I guess there's so many like literal monsters that they have to put up with. Maybe that's Kmart's just good place to shop compared to spiders that are 3 feet in width, and all the other nightmare fuel that lives down there.
I know. Have you ever heard of drop bears?
No.
Okay. So it's a funny story, but whenever I have some friends who live in Australia, and so whenever they have someone come to visit, who's maybe never been to Australia before, they always say, "Hey, listen, you got to watch out for the drop bears." And people are like, "What in the hell are drop bears?" And they're like, "Well, koalas, they look cute and cuddly, but they're these disgusting syphilitic creatures that will drop out of trees onto unsuspecting people, uh, and like climb up over them and bite them and stuff."
Huh.
And people believe this. It's not true. Like yes, they're syphilitic. No, they don't drop out of trees on people all the time. But people believe it, and they're always looking up for drop bears.
Although there was not long ago, there was a news article saying that they've made progress on a vaccine for chlamydia for koalas, because it's apparently a big issue with them.
Interesting. And you're right. It is not syphilis. It is chlamydia. I am thinking the syphilitic is actually monkeys here in Florida. Florida is just Australia. Yeah, there is literally an island here in Florida that is overrun by monkeys, and they're syphilitic. So
Why wouldn't there be?
Of course, yeah, it's it's just Australia light here in Florida.
Yep.
All right, I think honestly, Chris, I think that we've let this simmer quite enough. You pay attention much closer than I do, but I saw an article this morning, and I think that we would be remiss if we did not bring up the dumpster fire that is the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah. Corey, the level, do we need to set the table of the level of springtime confidence that he exuded in the chats? Look at it's tied.
The cope.
Yeah.
But you guys dropped a 15.5 game lead. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, and I don't follow baseball as much as I would care to, but if I'm not mistaken, this will go down in the record books, will it not?
It will. Yep. This is the biggest. We're in progress of the biggest collapse of a division leader, and they don't have the tiebreaker. Yeah, things are looking rough. Like this is amazing, and I don't even people around here. Like I'm not a Guardians fan, even though that's the territory that I'm in. But I don't even think we knew that the Guardians were capable of this. I mean, we kind of knew the Tigers were capable of, collapsing, because that's just kind of the state they chose to pick their home base in, But yeah, this is they say only the sickos pay attention to baseball this time of year. So call me a sicko if you want, but this is you were warned, Corey. I gave you all of the springtime victory laps you wanted to take. And this is why, we go through the entire lengthy process of the regular season of baseball, because it just makes the drama that much sweeter this time of year.
Big T. I would expect nothing less of YouTube. I appreciate you. I appreciate your comments, but this does not filed under something that surprises me, man. All right. So, like I said, we're going to try something a little bit new tonight. Hopefully we didn't make Corey. Oh, there. Okay. He's still here. Good. So we're going to answer some questions. We're going to go through some news, a little bit of a slow news week. So there's not a whole lot, but there are a couple things I want to bring up. And we will answer your questions. So drop your questions in earlier. We're going to get to them a little bit faster tonight now that we're done haranguing the audience. Let's dive into it. So first one here, Joseph. I dropped off my FBM packages this morning at USPS, and they said my shipping labels were popping up as fraudulent. Any experience with this? And I see a little bit later on said you bought them through Amazon. I don't know if you bought them through Amazon Seller Central or if you bought them through Vico. However, this happened earlier this year when it was Vico was the one that was having this issue. They weren't 100% sure what it was. However, here's how I think this could happen. All right. Most shipping companies, the only reason I know this is we used to have a postage machine at my job, at the place that I worked when I was selling insurance. And you kind of are given like a pack of numbers, and they don't you don't have a list of them, but they're just kind of cordoned off for you. You get these tracking numbers that are yours, and you use them as they go, rather than them just being created kind of on the go via an API or something. So my guess is that there was probably some sort of mix up, and this kind of stuff happens. But as long as it was delivered, everything should be fine. I mean, unless the Postmaster General comes knocking on the door. And then, just make sure to be like, hey, talk to Amazon, because that's who I bought it through. All right. First piece of news. We've got Q4 is 7 days away, I believe. I think the first is a Wednesday. Let me double check that. The first is a Wednesday. Yeah, we've got 7 days until Q4. That means we've got 22 days until peak holiday fulfillment fees kick in. Amazon announced this. It was not in the news section. Like, you had to go digging for this for some reason. But as previously announced, holiday peak fulfillment fees will apply again this year from October 15th through January 14th of 2026. If I'm not mistaken, I think they may have cut 1 day off of the peak fulfillment fees. I believe that last year was until January 15th, but don't quote me on that. Now, these apply to FBA. They apply to remote fulfillment with FBA. They also apply to multi-channel fulfillment and buy with Prime. The good news is that the peak fees are going to be exactly the same as last year. They're not going up, which is, that's as good of news we can get as Amazon sellers, to be quite frank. They also have these fulfillment fees available in the revenue calculator. Any calculator that you may use, like SellerAmp, that's worth its salt, already has these built in as well. But you're also going to be able to see these in your fee and economics preview report also, which is just part of the calculator. So you can kind of plug these in right now and figure, well, if I buy it today, I'm definitely paying peak fulfillment fees. So you're going to want to make sure that starting today, unless you're doing FBM, you need to have those fees calculated in.
Yep, another set of fees. What I would like to know is how I ended up with so many international products, and how I got such global exposure through Amazon, and exactly when that happened. This COO country of origin warning that everybody seems to have has opened up quite a few can of worms. I've gone digging in places in Seller Central that I didn't know exist before, and finding out some interesting stuff. So
yeah, it's rather interesting. All right, let's answer another question here. And is this a threat? Like, do we need to get the authorities involved? What is this, man?
What makes you think I live in a part of Ohio that actually has an Airbnb market?
All right, let's see here. Corey, has anyone noticed an uptick in UPS partnered cost recently? I use the same box, and last week it's like $7 more, and don't recall seeing anything about UPS cost increasing. I haven't seen any UPS price hikes recently. I mean, I know they had one a couple months ago, but nothing in the past couple of weeks.
Pirate Ship sent something out a couple days ago.
Did they? Oh, I didn't see that. I don't know why I didn't get that email. Let's do you remember what it said by chance?
You know, I want to say the one part I read to the point where it said ground advantage under 7 pounds wouldn't be affected. So that's
Okay.
kind of the point. That's the part I stopped reading. Because I'm pretty much only worried about my eBay market, my eBay store when it comes to that.
Yeah,
so, since I don't do any FBM.
Let's see here. Big T, what is Corey's Twitter or IG? I know his Twitter. It is Ganim. It's at Ganim, Ganim, Corey, Corey. Have not seen him and Luke in the same room at the same time. I'd have to say I have not seen that.
I believe Big T is referring to the other Corey.
Oh. Yeah, no, I sorry about that. I thought you were talking about someone else.
Although that does pose an interesting question. Is Corey the Michigan version of Luke? Or vice versa? Is Luke the Ohio version of Corey? I mean,
great question.
Bring up a repricer and that blows the theory apart, but that's something I'll have to study.
Albana, any advice on how to beat the Brazil verification? What are they looking? If you could remind me what they're looking for, let me know what they're looking for.
Typically, I find when I get it done, I use a lot of moisturizer. I try to keep it. Wait, what? Are we not? Oh, we're talking about something different.
Talking about something different. Yeah. No.
All right.
But I see where you go. I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Don't knock it till you try it.
New piece of news. There is a new FBA fulfillment fee discount. This is not something you hear very often. But there's a new FBA fee fulfillment fee discount for Amazon Business bulk orders. It goes into effect today, and you can get this Amazon Business Fulfillment by FBA fee discount. That is a mouthful. To qualify, you need to set up a business price or a quantity discount of 3% or more off your standard price. Right? So you're going to have to. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to show an example in real life. This is way, way too much math. Because the fee, you need to discount your price by at least 3%. And then the fee discount is on this sliding scale. Okay. So if it's and this is only available for small standard and large standard items, everything else is not available for the discount. So let's say, for example, that this item that you're selling is 8 to 10 ounces, small standard. If they order 2 to 4, you get a 39-cent discount. If they order 5 to 9, you get a 54-cent discount. And if they order 10 to 24, you get a 63-cent discount. Now, that is a per unit fulfillment fee discount. Okay. So if it makes sense and the fulfillment fee discount handles the discount that you've got to add to the product, great. And you should take advantage of this. Someone needs to build a calculator or something, because I have no idea. I don't want to go through all the trouble of figuring out like what price bands make sense and what sizes make sense and all that. But I would imagine that if you can afford a 3% haircut on your products that sell business, probably not a bad idea to try to boost a couple of sales if you're looking for some speed.
I don't quite have the why figured out on this. Why is Amazon pushing benefits of higher quantities through the business channel?
This is a good question. And my first thought was, my guess is they probably want to push business sales even more. And of course, Amazon wants to be the low price leader. So if there's any way to incentivize the sellers to lower prices, then why wouldn't they just do it? Because Amazon business segment, now granted, this is going to be a bit tough to figure out actual numbers, because it's very possible that some businesses just buy on a regular Amazon account. But Amazon business is $35 billion in annualized sales. I'm guessing 500,000 of those are probably Amazon to Amazon flips. So 34.5 billion are on the business marketplace out of a total of 638 billion in sales in 2024. So who are they trying to take business from? I don't know. I don't know where businesses are buying from. I guess maybe there's some B2B companies out there, like Uline, of course, and several others. But I guess they're trying to take over those sales, I would imagine.
Yeah, maybe it's I don't know. I'm curious if they identified a gap in the market or something, or whether they're trying to proactively go after. Office Depot announced they're going private, I believe. Maybe they see some opportunity somewhere. It's an interesting move.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Stacy, do you know anything about the Meltable fiasco where they said we could send on the 22nd? Yes, I do, actually. So yeah, we were supposed to be able to send Meltables in the 22nd, and then the system just broke. I don't know why it broke. I don't know how it broke, but Amazon is aware of it. I read that there was supposed to be a fix within 24 hours, and I don't know whether that has been fixed. I have not looked into it. I can't really send in Meltables from where I'm at in Florida. That would be a horrible idea. So I haven't even tried.
What's the fast and dirty of the fiasco? Stuff going stranded or
no, you went to create a Meltable shipment and it just said this stuff can't be sent in.
Interesting. Oh, there you go. Joy's got the business reasoning down. That makes perfect
there we
sense.
go. Higher odds of bigger orders and clearing storage space for Q4, plus bigger orders to one address. Likely cheaper for their own logistics when multiple orders with multiple destinations. I like it. All right. Okay, Silas, how do you two do your restocking? What tool do you use to keep track of what needs to be restocked? Please walk me through your process. Happy to. No tools. Don't use anything except for Google Sheets. You don't want to live in this brain, okay? Because it's just a bunch of numbers crashing into each other and a lot of out of service signs blinking. But yeah, it's just what's up in the old noggin, plus going through, things that you've bought in the past over and over and over again. I honestly, see, here's the thing. There are softwares out there that are supposed to help you with replens, and I'm not against them. Okay. It's an incredibly difficult thing to actually forecast for a reseller business. and everyone does their best. I don't think there's anyone out there just being like, you know what, this is an unsolvable problem, but we're going to offer a solution to it so that we can make some money on it. I don't think that's the case. I just think it's incredibly complex. And so I personally think the best thing to do is, you know, have your buy sheet listed out by month, and then once a month have it on your calendar to go in and look through all of your old leads. And also, whenever a sale does pop up, because that's one of the other things. It's like there's so many moving parts to restocking. Like, is the price on Amazon correct? You know, are you moving into what Chris calls the pinch? And do I want to stay off of this right now because there's probably going to be some price erosion? Is the product sourceable at a profitable price at this moment? So I think my second biggest tool is well, on a Mac it's Command F, on a Windows it would be Control F inside of Google Sheets. And let's say Walgreens pops up with a sale. Well, I'm just Control F or Command F and typing in Walgreens and going through each one of those sheets to see if I can buy stuff that I've already bought in the past. I'd love if there was some high-minded, way to do it, but I honestly think that it's kind of one of those problems where the midwit solution is the right solution. You have to do something that doesn't scale to scale.
Yeah, and Silas, I don't have anything constructive for you. I've railed against the concept of, I think replens in theory is far more attractive than in practice. Now, that's not to say we've interviewed people that have excellent replens businesses, right? I'm not saying it's not possible. I think the theory of it and the resulting sales pitch, if you build a course around the concept of replens, it makes it sound much more attractive than the actual execution. Because no replens, think about the replens tracker. You don't know, think about the forecasting involved. You have no idea. Are you actually marking how many other sellers are on it when you bought it the first time? Are you comparing that the second time? Is that going to influence the amount that you buy the next time? Now I know there are certain things that you can just buy at MSRP off the shelf that simply exist in the shadows of the masses of Amazon sellers, and that's, if you find those, that's great. That's probably easier to forecast. You could probably just kind of monitor it yourself, but I think the closest thing I do to replens is simply a varying degree of sourcing. I think it's just a matter of profit in my database. That's probably the closest thing that I do to actual replens, is simply having the bandwidth and the thought process to make sure that there's a period of time every so often that I go back through the stuff that I've previously bought, but I only do that. I don't do that for the replens. I do that because I know it's a moat. I know the average seller isn't going to go back through their database. I know there's a whole bunch of sellers that just kind of buy it and move on, just kind of, churn through stuff that way. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I know it can be done, but I think more people talk about replens than actually do it effectively.
I think so. And we've got one of our episodes one of our episodes of our podcast probably handled this the best, which is Grant Douglas. The way that he handles his was probably one of the best that I've seen so far. And I'm not sure that we've really I'm not sure we ever dove into replens with with like Jeff Storch, which maybe next time we have him on the show, we could talk about how he might handle it, or if they're just, buying new stuff all the time. But Grant Douglas, is doing a couple million a year, and his replens are 100% out of a Google sheet. Now he's got some fancy things running in that Google sheet. Like he puts in the information of how many he's sold over the last 7 days and like 30 days. And that's hooked up to the Keepa API. So it pulls the new or the current buy box price and stuff, which you could absolutely do. You should be able to vibe code that pretty easily. So speaking of that, that's actually one of the things I'm working on for those who are in OAC Plus. I shared a screenshot of this very bare bones, but I am kind of learning how to vibe code and doing it with a lead tracker. That way you can just throw some leads in there, and then Keepa will update once every 24 hours. That part was actually the simplest. It's the actual UI that's so difficult to vibe code, but we'll have that available hopefully in the next month or so, or at least kind of a bare bones MVP of it for those of you in the OAC Plus. And speaking of that, if you're not in OAC Plus, I'd love to have you join us. We've got something coming up in about 2 weeks from today, which I think is going to be, one, a lot of fun, and two, incredibly informative. October 7th, that is first day of Amazon Prime Big Deals Day. It's smack dab in the middle of Target Circle Week. It's first day of Walmart Deals Day. It's right in the middle of Kohl's Fall Sales Event. And that means there are going to be thousands of other stores that are going to be running competing sales as well, because these fall sales, there's actually an article on this, all of these retailers are kind of using these to throw a finger up in the air and see what Q4 sales are going to be like, and what the customer is expected to spend and things like that. But what it means for us is massive sourcing opportunity. So we're going to have a source-a-thon. Close as I get to hackathon, we're going to start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're going to go until 9 o'clock at night, live, straight. Be some bathroom breaks and stuff like that. I have at least 2 confirmed guests who will be there as of right now. And then of course myself. And so we're going to have 6 hours of sourcing over the shoulder. It's going to be a ton of fun, answering questions, laying out our thought processes, all of that stuff. Going to be a great time. But on top of just that, inside of OAC Plus, you get access to OA Challenge. You get access to Credit Card Points and Miles Challenge, Wholesale Challenge, and a bunch of other courses that we've got in there. One of the best things right now is you get free access to Storefront Stalker Pro. We want to make sure that you can actually make money by being a member of OAC Plus, and we're seeing people really start to take to Storefront Stalker Pro, and that's thanks to Chris more than anything else. Matter of fact, one of the guys just shared he got 272 ASINs to go through just now. My Discord just went off. I think this morning I had 700. Like, there's a ton of opportunity there. We also have leads from Flip Alert right inside the channel. Live weekly sessions. Chris holds one on Monday for sourcing. I hold one on Thursdays at noon for coaching. And the community is incredibly active. Plus suspension support. We'll go over leads and look at leads for you. I mean, we're trying to make this community like soup to nuts for the Amazon seller. So if you're looking for a good community that's led by some good people, us, we'd love to have you. You can head over to oachallenge.com/plus, become a member. We had a couple people just sign up. One person actually paid for the year because you get a nice little discount there. So love to have you there.
Yeah, it's a great chance to get in on the ground floor You know, it's the premier community is being built right now, and you have a chance to join us. Chris has shared some of the roadmap with me, and you know, it's something you're not going to want to miss. Plus, it's a heck of a lot of fun. I had just the chat alone yesterday, and it kind of forced me to have one of the more productive days that I've had in a while. Just you know, because we were being open about what we were doing, what we wanted to do. Started with just a good morning post on your part. I answered the question and kind of use that to help to hold myself accountable for the rest of the day, and it was a highly productive day. So you know, even one of the mods, you know, just being involved with it, you know, I saw a massive benefit from it. So yeah, sky's the limit if you want to come hang out with us.
Yeah. All right. Big T, I got a solid replen always available at department stores. Buy cost is between 14 and 18 depending on the sale that's running. How are you handling buy cost for your inputs? I don't know what software you're using. Bear with me just one second. Let me look something up here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a mistake or not. I think if the question is, are you making a new SKU for the different price that you're using? I don't. Typically, like I wouldn't make another SKU unless the pre-discount price changed.
Yeah.
I'll kind of let that average and basically it boils down to, you know, do you want to get granular with the actual specific buy cost based on the discount that you use at the time when it varies a little bit, or do you prefer looking at overall ASIN profitability over a longer term? And that's kind of the way I lean. So I'm not going to change the SKU unless the retail price pre-discount changes.
Yeah. If you use Boxum, which I know it's not the most popular yet, but I think that they are going to be eventually. If you use Boxum and you go in and you input your buy costs, you can actually add a restock to your SKU. And so every time you buy, you can change your buy cost and it'll keep it in there for you. So you can have as many buy costs as you want inside of there, and you can change the purchase date and you know, all that stuff. So that's one thing I really like about Boxum.
Nice. It looks like he might be talking about quantities purchased.
Not making any SKU. Do you just put 16? Try to buy all of it at 14, or do a really involved weighted average? So I think what he means by weighted average is like he bought 10 at 14 and he bought 6 at 16, and kind of blending that. If I'm buying them at different times, I'm probably not going to do that because I think the math gets real murky on that over time. I have done a blended, like a weighted average price if I have purchased the same item at different costs on the same day. I've done that before. But I don't think I would do that over a long period of time.
Yeah, because at some point you're going to you have to settle on some sort of buy cost in order to set your mins, you know, for the 99.9% of us that use repricers. You know, so you're going to have some sort of base to establish your break even and then set your parameters from there, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I saw another question here. Business pricing doesn't reprice, right? I believe that it can. I don't really mess around with business pricing. Let me check. Let me check my seller snap here for just a moment and see. Yeah. So I can inside of seller snap, I can reprice business pricing differently. That's no problem at all. So any preferred Keepa filters either of you guys use that seem effective? There's a lot, to be frank. There's quite a few that are effective. So we had this question on Sunday, and I'm going to give you the same answer. If you will go over to Twitter and you'll go to at clear the shelf, which is my account, and then use the search bar and put in open quotation, KPF, close quotation, you're going to get 11, 12, maybe 15 different threads on Keepa Product Finder. Pick one and try it out. They're all effective. So yeah, just try them out. Pick the one that works best for you. But they will work.
Even that's a tough question to answer, because it's like, okay, how granular do you want to get on it? Like,
Exactly.
you want the basic filters, like new offers, at least 3 or more. That's going to keep out private label. Most of it. Minimum or maximum ranks. How you can kind of go basic with it. There's a whole bunch of answers as far as like just the basic setup of stuff, and then from there it just proliferates into so many different possibilities. How many Keepa SOPs are you up to now?
72.
Yeah. So
JP, when there's a return in on an FBA product, does the product come back to you, or does it go back to the FC where it got shipped from? Well, it does go back to Amazon. I won't say that it always goes back to the same FC. It may go somewhere else, but it does always go back to Amazon. They figure out whether it's sellable or whether it's been damaged. If it's sellable, they'll just put it back in your inventory. If it's not sellable, then it will come back to you eventually. Candyman. Hey guys, when changing from an individual to an LLC, will it reset my seller metrics or API? No, it will not. It should not change any of your seller metrics, should not change any of your API. You should not have to get ungated in any brands or anything. The only time that you might have to get re-ungated in brands is if you decide to go from a professional selling account to a free selling account. Whenever you drop out of the professional selling plan, you can lose some of your ungates. Hey, Shannon, good to see you. Yeah, better late than never. Any software recommendations for Amazon to Amazon price drops? Well, the very first thing you should be using is Keepa. You can go to the Keepa deals section, and that's going to be something that you probably already pay for. However, you can also use Flip Alert if you want. Flip Alert is a great product, something I'm in just about every single day. And it'll show you some price drops automatically. It is a little bit faster than Keepa. And then there are a lot of other features in there as well. And I've got a link for Flip Alert somewhere. It is an affiliate link. I will make a couple of shekels if you decide to use that, but give it a try. I think I've got a 7-day free trial, or shoot me a message and I'll get you that 7-day free trial. But if you don't have it in the budget for a software, or you don't want to pay for something, you can do a couple of things. One, you can use Keepa deals, like I said. Two, you can actually use the Keepa filters to find products where the price has dropped. That's it's actually a pretty easy thing to do. AMZ with me. Have you tried the new AI for sellers on the app? Yes, I have. I used it to own the private label supremacists on Twitter. Is what I used it for. But no, other than that, I have messed around with it a little bit and started asking it questions about what it would suggest that I replenish, and which products were selling the best, and a few other things. I'm thinking that it may be a good idea to maybe use Perplexity, or use ChatGPT, or even Grok to act like a business consultant for an inventory based e-commerce business, and give me like a list of 50 questions that I should ask about my Amazon business, and then start feeding those in. At least the ones that are any good. They're not all going to be good. But yeah, it was. It's. I think once they get it better, it's going to be a great tool for people.
Yeah, I just got the Alexa Plus rollout today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the early access. So no, they don't have any British accents though, to be able to change the voice. I was a little bit disappointed.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, as much as I like to make fun of those folks across the pond, I do appreciate listening to a British accent, like if they're reading a Kindle book or something. It makes me feel like I'm getting smarter. Shannon, what is that technique or something that you were doing to see how many things you could get ungated in? What did I call that? Oh, I called it the brute force ungating. So the reason I call it brute force ungating is it was literally just sheer willpower. There is no trick. The trick is sit behind your computer and do the work to get auto ungated in as much as you possibly can. I believe that those 2,500 of the 4,000 brands that I was ungated in was done in a month. The rest of them were over the course of 6 months. So just tried to cram in 6 months worth of work into a month. Syed, I keep getting some beauty products with low competition, low demand. Their seller drop is not good, but not bad as well, with 5 sellers out of 3 in a month under 300,000 BSR. Should I consider and give it a try with 5 or 10 units? If there is evidence of some velocity and not a lot of competition, and for something that sells that slow, I would personally want some extra profit on there. Okay. Just in case you do need to erode the price a little bit, or it does need to sit for 45 days before it all sells through. I want to get paid a little bit more for that. But I'm not against buying just 5 units of something. I think that too often we get bogged down in this, how I'm going to make $3 per sale. Well, what if we instead framed it as, I am looking for a product that will make me $50 over the next 30 days. And that could be buying 50 units of a product that you could sell 50 times over the next 30 days. Or it could be buying 1 unit of a product that is a slow mover that has evidence that you will make $50 and it will probably sell within the next 30 days. I'm okay on both of those. I'm not against either one of those. Because at the end of the day, it's the profit in our pocket that we're looking for. And then having a mixture of those, like, that's the best. I've got some items. I've got 2 units of something right now that I expect will make about a $75 profit, but I think that they're going to be in stock for probably another 3 weeks before they sell. But I'm cool with that. And then there's other products that are in there that are going to make $3 in profit, but they're going to sell out, within a week after they get checked in. Neither one of those are wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's a good point, because we talk about the speed of money, and the compounding effect that getting your capital back, capital plus profit, and then turning that into more inventory. It's not a given that, like, slow movers doesn't mean slow money. There's a certain point where, you can mitigate the slow mover effect by adjusting units. That's an important distinction. And you can still overall classify yourself as turning your inventory over at a respectable rate, at a productive rate. So that's an important distinction.
Mm-hmm. Big T, speaking of storefronts, if you have 2 ASINs, can you use Keepa to generate a list of the sellers that have sold those 2 ASINs over a given time period? I'm not sure if I'm envisioning this the same way you are, because the answer is yes. I mean, I can go right to the Keepa data section in the Keepa graph, and I can see the historical sellers on both of those ASINs. And I could download those, and put them in a Google Sheet and see, oh, okay, well, these are the sellers over this period of time and that kind of thing. But I've got you're a bright fella. So I have this feeling that you're looking for something a little bit more than just a list of sellers who have been on those 2 ASINs. They mentioned something about RevSeller to ungate. Is it similar to what is used in Seller Amp? Yeah, both Seller Amp and RevSeller have a feature that tells you whether or not you're ungated in things, and they'll both, allow you to go in and get ungated. RevSeller did make a little bit of a change, and they allow you to get ungated from the Add a Product page or the regular old ungating page. The brands you got ungated in were all brands that you did not have to send in units for, correct? Yes, that is correct. And as of late, I don't even know if I should say this on a YouTube video. No, we're going to keep that one. We're going to keep that one for OAC Plus. Shannon, shoot me a message. You're in there. I'll tell you what else you could do. Big T, can you search Keepa to see the most tracked ASINs? I don't think so. No, I don't think you can search Keepa for the most tracked ASINs. I know that they give you that data down at the bottom for each one, but there's not there's definitely not an API call or anything. JP, if you had to start from 0 with all the knowledge you both now have, what price range would you use to find products? I think I look for lower range products, which at the end have to sell a lot. I prefer products that sell for more. if I could only sell products that sold for $150 and above, I would. But I think realistically, I think your average selling price should be, you should try to keep it above $40 in today's climate, in today's fee climate is what I mean. I think above $40 or higher is better. And if you can afford it, or you have the intestinal fortitude to handle $300 refunds to customers, go as high as you possibly can.
Yeah, JP, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't think I would use price range as one of the metrics when I'm searching for products. You know, because the hypothetical that you set out is if I start from zero. So if I'm brand new, but I know what I know, I'm simply looking for velocity at that point. And depending on the circumstances, you know, if, you know, typically people start with zero, have, you know, capital restrictions, you know, so I may skew towards lower, but I think in general, I'm going to base my number one criteria and everything's going to start with sales velocity, because I need to get whatever capital I have. If I am constrained on capital, I need to get it back as fast as possible, which obviously velocity is going to help. You know, considering your metrics, you know, if I'm starting at zero, that means I'm starting at 200 IPI score. So I'm going to want those 4 points for every 200 orders that are fulfilled, to start rolling over as fast as possible. You know, we're certainly not, we're not afraid of lower profit margins, you know, if the velocity is there. You know, so that's probably where I'd get pushed to, you know, if I'm starting from a velocity standpoint, and I'd be okay with it knowing what I know, you know. So obviously I would prefer higher priced items, you know, makes everything faster, everything easier as far from a revenue standpoint, of course. But yeah, starting from zero, just thinking about the what needs to get done, you know, to season my account and open up ungates and stuff like that. You know, I mean, velocity would be by far the number one metric.
AMZ with me. Do you have suggestions on how to estimate seasonal sales year over year? I sold a PL product of 399 items in December of last year. Not sure how to estimate October and November sales. I mean, with no sales history for those months, I can't know. There's no way to know. And also with PL product, I guess it depends on what it is too. You know, is it a product that is popular all year round? Is it something that's only going to be popular for Christmas? So I don't know that you can really estimate it without prior sales velocity data.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of forecasting as far as the degree of the seasonality. You know, I mean, if you're selling Christmas trees, October is going to be slow, you know. So
I envision Luke looking like Hide the Pain Harold when he typed this out. I'm sorry about that, man.
And then taking a picture with his phone of his computer screen for some special nanobot filter automation thing that he's hacked together.
Silas, what categories other than shoes tend to have the highest priced items? There's quite a few. There's tools and home improvement. Home and kitchen has higher priced items. Sporting goods have sold some high priced items in there. You know, it's a little past, I think, but you know, high school baseball season, a lot of $300 bats going out the Amazon cart, you know.
Golf
what else
is
is there?
an expensive
Golf?
hobby.
Golf is an expensive hobby. Heck, just about any kid's sport is an expensive hobby anymore. Um, Industrial and scientific, automotive. I mean, there's a lot of places. I see. I think the right answer, rather than me just listing off every single category, is I would be category agnostic and find the items that are expensive in every category. If that's what your goal is. We're selling something, and I'm selling a couple things in beauty right now that are over $100 each, sale price, not source price, but those items exist everywhere.
Yep. Electronics,
Absolutely, electronics.
musical instruments.
Yeah. JP, my issue trying to use Storefront Stalker Pro is finding stores that do OA. How can I learn if the store I'm stalking is a good OA candidate? Chris, I'm gonna let you take this one, sir.
Yep. Yeah. So this comes up, and JP, everyone has this problem. If you on the shows Monday nights, there's half a dozen stores that I have to hide, that I haven't replaced yet, or something small that I like about it, but they're clearly not doing the bulk fits, not arbitrage. So typically what I look at is, and I don't know if you're using RevSeller or Seller Amp, either one will work, but I will open up the store I use RevSeller. Okay, so that's the terminology I'll use. I will open up the storefront in the storefront analysis widget, right, on Amazon, where it sorts everything by, it'll show you in the left top column, it'll show you the country that they sell in, it'll tell you the total ASINs in their store. The total ASINs is the first piece of data that I'm looking at, because it's got to have enough to make it worth it. I don't want a store that's too small. I can't have a store with more than 5,000 with Storefront Stalker Pro, right? So that's the first piece of data. In the middle section, it'll tell you the brands that they sell in descending order. So it'll show you the brand that they sell the most of, or that they stock the most of. I take a look at that. And then in the right-hand top column, it'll tell you the categories that they sell in, also in descending order, right? So you'll see the top category, the category that they have the most ASINs in their store, and then on down. So you can look at that. And then below that top section, they'll start showing you the ASINs, right? And the default setting with RevSeller on that widget is they're going to show you the lowest sales rank first. And then the column in the middle and the column on the right, you can click on any one of those. You can pick a brand, and RevSeller will populate all of the ASINs on that brand, or you can click a category, any of the categories listed, and it'll show you all the ASINs that they have in that category. Typically what I do is I'm looking at the categories too. That'll help me determine whether I want to stock them or not. But say they've got a category that I like, or that I want to sell more in. Say they've got a whole bunch of tools and home improvement, right? And that's their number one category. I will click that. I'll let RevSeller populate the ASINs in tools and home improvement category that they currently have in stock. And then I'll start scrolling down. And as I'm scrolling down, what I'm looking at is I have my max cost in place, right? So I know what I have to get it for. And then it'll show you the buy box, and then it'll show you this seller. It'll show you the price that they are currently priced at. Okay. And what I typically do is I will take their price, and then I'll make note of my max cost, and then I'll just use that one-click Google search, and I'll take a look at what the range of what I could buy it for, obviously online arbitrage from an OA perspective. And if their price has some profit baked in, if it's a couple bucks profit from what I can find it for on Google, that's first clue that they might be arbitrage, right? Because you can tell what their pricing is as you go through these ASINs. If it's way, way low, I mean, there's a chance that they're liquidating, sure. But if you keep seeing a whole bunch that are lower than you can get it for, doing a quick Google search, just estimating your buy cost, that's going to be the indication that you want to move on. But if you see stuff where it's like, okay, if their buy cost was similar to me, they would be making a few bucks profit. Make a mental note of that. As you keep moving on, start just ticking all the ones that you go, that would be a few bucks. If it was OA, that would be a few bucks. And if you get enough of those, you can make a safe assumption that they're an arbitrager.
Yep. Shannon, so I did not miss your question. I promise. I had to skip it for tactical reasons, but please message me and I will help you out. Yeah. FOAB, I know you were testing Seller Snap and I watched the latest webinar you did with them. Would you recommend the switch now prior to Q4 or stick with the old repricer? I know. I will tell you, I've been very, very happy. They do a really, really good job. If you have been thinking about switching to a Seller Snap and you are, and it's something that's in the budget and all of that, I would be doing it now. Like we're coming up on the highest velocity sales season when you want your prices going up as much as they possibly can. And Seller Snap just does not disappoint in that realm. I was looking at a product just the other day, and the price started out at like $38 and it's creeped all the way up to $52. And the velocity hasn't really slowed down. It's been very nice.
You can make the argument that Q4, I mean, it seems like almost any repricer, you make a change, there's kind of like that anecdotal bump in velocity.
Yes.
Take that for what it's worth. However, if you're considering, if you're asking the question about Seller Snap, so there's something that you think, at the very least, there's something you think that could be improved with the repricer that you're using currently. Mm-hmm. So you could make an argument that there's probably no better time to experience that boost of, a repricer, especially as one as robust as Seller Snap. There's no better time than Q4 to try it out.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, the other thing too, is sometimes it seems like you just need to tickle the algorithm a little bit, which is a weird thing to say, but like if you're having a slow sales on a particular ASIN, just go look at this is weird, but just go look at the Amazon product detail page, click through from your inventory and open it up and scroll up and down a little bit. And it's amazing how often that it feels like it kicks something loose. I did an FBA shipment last month with 5 boxes containing the same items. 4 got checked in. 1 was received at the fulfillment center, checked in, but they say the box was empty. I've opened up a case to look into it, but it's taking a lot of time. Any hope that they find those items? Sure. I wouldn't hold my breath about it, but they very well may find them, but you're going to need to keep hounding them. You need to become a pain in their neck over this. Send them all the information over and over and over again until they either find the inventory or they reimburse you. And then when they reimburse you less than what you paid for the stuff, then start bothering them about getting reimbursed appropriately.
I know that's a megaphone, but every time the first time AMZ with me pops up, for some reason, I always think it's a chicken wing. Maybe I've been dieting too long.
Let's see here. JP, I had good success with a certain product. I bought more, but noticed another seller tanked the price. Should I wait for that seller to sell out rather than react? I don't think that reacting is ever a good idea. We should always have a plan and then stick to the plan. So if your plan is, well, I have my minimums and my maximums, and that is where I stay until the item becomes X number of days old, then I don't even have to think about it. It just, I've got a plan. I stick to the plan. Now, if the item is, and let's say that your rule is, I have a minimum 20% ROI until day 60, at which I go to a break even until day 90. And at day 90, I go to a negative 20% return on the investment to try to get it sold. That's my rules. Okay. So if we're in between day 0 and 60, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to break my rule because it's a rule for a reason. So I don't have to make any emotional decisions, because that's what we end up doing. This month, and then we say, well, I'll lower my mins just a little bit. I mean, unless there's some outside force, and you can always break your rule, but I think you need to have a really good reason for it. So that's what I would do. Candyman, is the upgrade discount for Storefront Stalker Pro still available for OAC Plus members? Yes, everyone in OAC Plus, if they want to move, you get 3 stores absolutely free, cost you nothing. If you want to move from a 3-store plan to anything above that, you get a 40% discount on any of the plans above that. So yeah, that'll be yours forever, as long as you're a member of OAC Plus. All right. All right, that's it, guys. That's the show for this week. Lots of good questions. Maybe we'll have to put some questions in between the news and kind of keep the wheels greased a little bit. I think that may help in the future. So, all right, guys, we'll wrap it up there for tonight. But Chris and I will be back on Sunday to do this all over again with you. If you have anything between now and then, give us a shout. And we'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Have a great evening, everybody.